Hey guys, I hope everybody is staying warm and ready to go into some music theory. uh, Guys, one more assignment, one more plain assignment with dominants and tonic chords, because I want to be sure that you have it in your ears and in your voice or in your instrument. Okay, so in order to do that, let's have a little review of the things that we've talked about the dominant chord. We said that in tonal music, relationships of where the roots of the chords are connected by a fifth, where the roots are a fifth apart, are very important. And the most important of those relationships of roots a fifth apart is the relationship that the dominant has with the tonic. Dominant wants to go to tonic. We've talked about that. The whole tonal music thing is based on the premise that all of the scale degrees relate to each other and to the tonic in certain ways that are based basically on stability or instability, on release or with tension, right? So in order for us to explain how that happens with the tonic and dominant chords, we've been talking about the scale degrees that are part of those chords, right? We said that, for example, the tonic scale degree has the tonic, and then by stacking thirds we get the third and the fifth scale degrees, the mediant and the dominant. If we go into our stability to instability continuum, we see that those are the three most stable pitches in a major scale. On a minor scale, this also works too. If we go to the dominant, though, we find that it would be the chord that starts on the dominant and then goes a third above to the leading tone, and then it goes to 2, right? One more third, and then if it is a 5/7, it goes up to the subdominant, the fourth scale degree to complete that 5/7. And if we go to our instability spectrum, we find here is where T is, here is where Phi is, here is where 2 is, and here is what 5 is. So clearly tonic is pulling towards the stable side, and dominant is pulling towards the unstable side, and that is why we have that we feel that tension and that release afterwards, right? Okay, we know that the dominant chords are major minor chords, meaning that they have a major triad and a minor seventh, and this is also true in minor keys, where we raise the seventh scale degree using harmonic minor to recreate that feeling of having a major minor, a dominant chord built on the fifth scale degree. Now, when we're talking about this, we could say that there's certain laws of attraction about where these scale degrees want to go. So we know that T wants to go to Do. We've known that. Fa wants to go to Mi or to Me. Re is so close that it tends to want to go to Do, also to tonic. And then 5. Since 5 is part of both chords, let's say that it starts and finishes on itself. Although we'll see an exception to that. So going into actual notes, this is G major, and here we have all of our 5 of dominant 7 chord resolutions in all positions. So I have a 5/4/3 here, so I have a D7 over A that goes to a G major. And here you have everything that I've been talking about. So in G major, here is Fa, that's a C, and Fa is going to Mi, which is B on G major. I think I forgot to write it. Yes, this is the key signature. This is an F sharp. F sharp is T, and T is going to Do. That's exactly what we expected. Sol, or the fifth scale degree, is staying, and Re is going to Do. This is a very neat resolution. Like you resolve into a tonic triad in root position, where the double root is separated by an octave, so there isn't anything really double in the same register. It's a very cool one. If you go to at 6/5, you can follow the same exactly the same resolutions, but it'll end up, since T goes to Do and now it's on the bottom, and Re also goes to Do, you end up with a double Do. But anyway, the only one that is a little different is the 5/4/2. The 5/4/2 is a 7th chord that has the 7th on the bass. You can see it here. And the 7th of a dominant 7 chord is going to be Fa. You know that Fa goes to Mi. That means that the tonic chord that it resolves to is on first inversion. You know all that? Now, when we go into our root position one, technically everything works out here. Fa goes to mi, ti goes to do, re goes to do. Technically, sol should stay into a D, but that would leave us with a 1-6-4. And I've mentioned it a couple of times, and I will mention it again. We do not like 6-4 chords. We only like, when we're studying tonal music, we only like 6-4 chords in certain occasions. Okay, one of them is the cadential 6-4. I've been mentioning that chord, but we'll talk more about that one and other kinds later in the semester. But the fact is that we don't like 6-4 chords because they're very unstable, because they have a fourth between the bass and the next line, and we don't like that. So that is why in a chord like this, sol goes to do, and we end up with a triple root and 1/3, which is why when we are part writing, we go from a complete 5-7 chord to an incomplete tonic chord. Okay, and at the end, all of this review had one purpose, and it is so you can be able to play what you have to play for your playing or oral skills assignment for this weekend. I'm gonna ask you to either sing with solfege syllables while playing the piano, or play in your instrument all these resolutions. In order to tell you how is it that it's going to go, I'll do it myself. This is G major. Do, mi, sol, mi, do. So the dominant chord is gonna be sol, ti, re, fa. Let me play all the resolutions with this backing track. Sol, ti, re, fa, do, 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 mi, ti, re, fa, sol, do, do, mi, sol, re, fa, sol, ti, do, mi, sol, do, fa, sol, ti, re, mi, sol, do, do. There you have your 1-6 at the end. This is it for this one, and now let's go into the second part of the video. Hey guys, and in the second part of the video, we're gonna keep talking about non-chord tones, NCTs. Hold on, let me stop my cat from playing. So check it out, guys. We are gonna work talking about non-chord tones. We're gonna talk about this exercise number 4, the Schumann. So let me play this for you once, and let me ask you something. Is there any part where you feel, where you hear a particular dissonance quality to it? Let me play it for you. So hopefully you heard, hopefully not, like I guess you heard this spot as being a little dissonant. And if you look at this chord, that is the only spot that has an accidental. We're in the key of F major, and F sharp is definitely not a part of it. So we're finding some chromaticism. There's something that is not diatonic here that we need to explain somehow. You know, so this is where our theorist hat comes in, and we start thinking about what is it that it could be. So without looking at context, which is something that you should do on your own, we can see that we have pretty much two options here. We can call, if we call these two chords, one with the accidental and one without it, this would be, the first one would be a B flat augmented. You have the B flat here, you have the third, the D, and the fifth, an F sharp. That is kind of odd because we haven't worked too much with augmented chords, but that's what it seems to be. The other option would be, or like the other part of the beat would be a G minor with bass on B flat. So right out of the batch, there's something that happens here, and you're gonna see this when you analyze the rest of the chords. Most of the chords are moving at a rate of 1 chord per beat, or in the case of the first chord, it takes 2 beats, but none of the beats have more than 1 chord. So at this point, it becomes like a little suspicious that out of a sudden Schumann would decide to put two chords on a beat and change. We call this the harmonic rhythm, the rate at which the harmonies are changing. So that's right off the bat. It's like weird. I have too many chords. So and since we were studying NCT, a good option is to think like, okay, no, you know what? Let's just pick one of those chords and we'll call the note that doesn't belong the note that doesn't belong. We'll just call it a non-chord tone. We'll figure out what to label it. So let's go option by option. The first option is to call this a B flat augmented, and we're like, okay, everything is possible here. Then we go for Roman numerals that we would use to try to explain chords in the key that they are in F major. And when we go to our diatonic chords, we did something like this in class. We see that the fourth chord right here is a major chord. It's a major chord, or if it has a 7, it's a major 7th chord. And that is definitely not the case with this one. This is not a major chord, it's an augmented chord, so we couldn't call this a 4 augmented. That doesn't exist. Let me make that very clear. Roman numerals, the way we're using them now are we use them to describe diatonic chords. We use Roman numerals to describe that particular relationship that the different scale degrees and the chords that are built on those scale degrees relate to each other and to the tonic. So this is not a chord that is using only those scale degrees. So therefore, as we know them now, we should not use Roman numerals with it. So this option I don't like. It's out of the batch. I don't know how you say that. The other option would be to call this a G minor in first inversion, and just to call this F sharp, it happens twice here, to call it a non-chord tone. And in that case, we can just call this a 2 chord. This is a much better solution, right? Because there's an actual Roman numeral that we can use for this and all. So I like this. Now, we said, right now we can further classify non-chord tones depending on how they are approached and left. This one is approached by step and left by step in the same direction. So this means that this one would be a passing tone. We will mark it with a P. If we want to classify them even further or to explain them even further, we could say a couple more things. We could say that this is a chromatic passing tone. It's not a diatonic passing tone like the one that we saw in the exercise in class. And this is also an accented chromatic passing tone because it is happening on the beat, not between the beats. The chord, the note that is part of the chord is the G, and that is the one that is unaccented. So this would be an accented chromatic passing tone, if we wanted to label all that. There is also another F sharp that is doubling on the part that is an octave down from there. So it is the same note, an F sharp. However, it's not the same kind of non-chord tone because it's approached and left different. Check it out. It's approached by a leap and left by a step in the opposite direction. That's what we call an apoyatura, but you need to know that now. Anything that matters right now is whether or not it is a passing tone. If it's not a passing tone, just put it on parentheses and let it be. So go ahead and for your assignment, just analyze the rest of this. The cadence is here. Figure out what kind of cadence it is. Little note, the fermata symbol, we kind of use it in 2 different ways. We use it for performance. It means just to hold into a note a little longer. That's the way they're using it here. But for analysis, the way we use it in this class, we're just gonna put it when there is a cadence nearby. Actually, I just changed my mind a little bit. Since we've been talking about the dominant chord, let's see how the dominant chord happens here. Let me play the recording for you again. And this time, now that I told you where the point of cadence is, where the cadence happens, why don't you try to just orally classify this as an open cadence, a half cadence, something that would finish on the dominant with the tension, or something, or an authentic cadence, one that would finish on tonic, that would be a closed cadence. So listen to it and just have that in mind. Hopefully you heard this as a closed cadence that goes to a dominant, in this case C7, and resolves da, 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 to tonic. So that sounds like a 5-to-1, like a tension to release kind of progression. So let's see if our ear is correct. Here we have C, B flat, E, and G. This is in fact a G7 chord, and here we have F, A, C, and F. This is an F major chord, so this is indeed a 5-7 to 1 resolution, which also absolutely means that this is a closed cadence, an authentic cadence. There is one more non-chord tone here, because if you think about it, this F, it's anticipating the harmony of the F major, but it's not part of this C7 harmony that is still sounding, you know, like on the bass and on the tenor. So this would still be considered a non-chord tone. We would put it in parentheses. And since this is anticipating the next harmony, we call this an anticipation. But like I said, you don't have to worry about names other than a passing tone. What you care is that this is not a passing tone right now. Something else, a little word of attention on this one. Check it out. Re, in this case G, because we're in F major, goes to Do. It's perfect. Fa goes to Mi. Sol, since it is in root position, goes to Do. So the tonic can be on root position. But check it out. T, one of the most important notes that we're talking about all the time, is supposed to go to Do, but instead takes a little detour, and instead of going to Do, comes to Sol. So comes down to Sol. That is what the theory books in common practice call a frustrated leading tone. We will learn to write with it, but for now, just know that it exists, and sometimes composers don't follow all the rules. Surprise. That's why we studied this class. So go ahead and analyze the rest of this. There's gonna be another 5-to-1 resolution, an inversion of 5, that involves a non-chord tone. So have fun thinking about that. And that also has something that is weird on its resolution, so you'll have to comment on that. So I think this is it for this one. I'll send you a document explaining the rest of the assignment, but this is it. Guys, I hope everybody's okay and you're staying warm and you're okay, that you're doing fine. Okay, let me know if you have any questions about this, and I'll see you next time that I see you. Bye bye.